Good morning, ladies. Good morning, and welcome to the Empowered panel discussion that we are having this morning. I'm so excited to welcome these lovely ladies with me live in the Empowered Woman Collective. Everyone, why don't you just say hi to everybody? Monica and Kelsie and Laurel, give everyone a wave.
Hello.
So each of these ladies, I have had the privilege of being a coach or mentor to at some point in our lives together and in our relationship. And I wanted to bring them here in a live panel discussion just so you could get to know them a little bit more and hear a bit of their story as to what it's like to actually invest in yourself through working with a coach and specifically through working with me in the Goddess Experience. We're going to talk a little bit about what the experience that each of them had in this, what they've received from it, and how their lives are now, what's going on in their lives. So I'm going to give some space for everyone to share a little bit about themselves and that journey. And to begin with, I just want to take a moment for each of you to just take a minute or two to introduce yourselves. So Laurel, why don't we start with you and have you share where it is that you live, what your favorite color is, we were talking about that before, and just how you're feeling today.
Okay, so my name is Laurel. I am a little bit of a gypsy, but my physical stuff lives in Coquitlam. I'm in Lillooet right now, visiting my family, self-quarantining. um, my favorite color is purple. My second favorite color is green. And today I woke up feeling super happy. The sky is so blue and the sun is shining and the sun just like woke me up through the window. So it's just been a really good morning. Feeling really energized.
Yay. I'm so happy that you can bring some of that energy here with us. Thank you for sharing that, Laurel. We're so happy that you're here. Woo. Okay, who else would like to go next? Monica or Kelsie? Give us a little intro of where you live, your favorite color, and how you're feeling today.
Yep, I'll go next. So I live in the Kansas City area in Kansas in the United States. My favorite color is purple as well. And today I'm feeling very centered and peaceful. So
Thank you, Monica. That feels good.
you're
We've got some
welcome.
energy. We've got some centered and peaceful. That groundedness. We're bringing those together. That feels really lovely. Yay! I'm glad you're here. And Miss Kelsie, how about for you? You want to do a little introduction? She's just sending a text. Don't worry. She might not be able to hear us. Actually, we were having some challenges with our technology and speakers and or headphones and Bluetooth and all the things. So maybe we'll just leave that for a second. Oh, are you here, Kelsie?
It says she cannot hear on the private chat,
Oh,
unfortunately.
oh, great.
So
Okay. Well, Kelsie will come back when she's ready. So, for right now, why don't we just take whoever wants to dive into this? Why don't you share with us a little bit about where you would say you were at, how you were feeling, or what was going on in your life before you and I started working together in the Goddess Experience? So, let's try and bring yourself back into that time, how you were feeling, what was present for you, and sort of what allowed you to reach out to make that connection to even consider stepping into a coaching partnership. Whoever wants to start, go ahead.
I'll go first. So the time that we worked together was about a year ago. And at that time in my life, I was feeling definitely like the best word to describe it would probably be stuck. I felt stuck, not sure which direction I wanted to go, primarily career-wise. And I'd say I can reflect back now and acknowledge that I also was feeling unworthy of abundance in my life. And at the time, I didn't have the words for that, but that's something we uncovered together. So I would say I'd also felt kind of confused, and I was really hard on myself about feeling like I was lazy, like I was embracing too much of my feminine energy and not enough of my masculine. So that kind of sums up where I was emotionally and kind of mentally at that time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think that's really important what you shared because a lot of what I speak about in this group as well as publicly is about allowing our feminine energy to rise. But it's not really about that. It's about balancing the two. And yours was out of balance in that you needed a little bit more of that masculine drive. And so by bringing awareness to that, you can create those tools and resources that you need to make that happen for yourself. And so what I heard in that was it was kind of a place of confusion, just not really knowing exactly where you want to go or what that next step is for you. Does that resonate?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay. And Kelsie, you had stepped out for a second. Hopefully you can hear us and everything's good. We're just taking a moment to share where each of you were, how you were feeling, and what was going on in your life right before we stepped into the goddess experience together. So either Laurel or Kelsie, whoever wants to share, go ahead.
I can go. I kind of had stepped into like this new, like totally uncomfortable situation in my life when Deanna's name popped into my head, because I had met with her once before in kind of a group session, yoga class kind of thing. And before I met with Deanna, I had been working on myself like a lot, like with personal development, and I was fairly new to it. Maybe I would say about a year working, like, even just like, I mean, for me, personal development is like a lot of podcasts or like whatever, YouTube. And I hadn't like dived too deep into that kind of thing. But yeah, then I came to a place where I felt like I was really stuck in that, or maybe even moving backwards. I was frustrated with myself and not really knowing how to move forward. And yeah, so Deanna's experience popped into my head, and I thought, I gotta find this lady. And I just felt called to it. So yeah, that's kind of where I was, but I'm very happy that I did.
Well, and I think, Laura, I can personally relate to that too, and I'm sure that a lot of people listening to this can, as well as maybe you ladies on the call as well. But I've read a lot of self-help books. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've done a lot of that inner work through the external resources, but I just find that they are supportive and they help you create new concepts and think bigger for yourself, but it's the implementation of it that sometimes we get stuck on. And that's where, like, I've experienced that before too, same as you, Laurel, of you bring all of this in and then it's like nothing happens, you're not moving forward, you don't feel good about it anymore. And that's where that accountability and the actual implementation and taking action helps so much. And I'm so grateful that you had that experience so that it brought us together.
Me too.
Thanks for sharing that, Laurel. And how about for you, Kelsie?
So I am hearing myself in a lot of these stories as well, which, Deanna, you probably know this already because you know all of us are similar. But I was doing a lot of the personal development. I had an amazing, successful year with my business that I run, and everything was like ticking along. If you'd looked at the boxes, everything was ticking. I have a lovely family and 2 great boys and a supportive husband, and everything was moving along splendidly. And I was happy, like I was enjoying life. And then I've done a lot of personal development just over the years, but I've always found that I love the personal development. I love what it's teaching me, but I've really struggled to embody it. And I came to this point where I'd had this amazing year, and I was like, that's it. Okay, so we're going to do that all over again. Like, what was the point in that? Where was the joy? Like, really? Okay, like all of these people are recognizing me and celebrating me, and I'm not able to celebrate the joy for it in myself. And so for me, I wanted to learn how to really embody all of these things that I was reading, that I was like, yes, that's what I want. And I kept consuming and consuming and consuming, but never really embodying. And so that's originally why we started talking.
Yeah, and Kelsie, that's so real for so many people that on like the concept of sort of on paper everything's great. Everything looks great, everything should be great. And that's that a lot of us harbor a sense of guilt because we know we should be more grateful. We know we should be more happy, and yet we're not. And you're right, it is that sense of embodiment of allowing ourselves to be in the present moment and not always forward thinking, coming into the feminine and softening a bit, surrendering into what it feels like to be in our own lives. Like, what does it feel like to live as who I am instead of constantly seeking the next thrill or the next goal or the next thing that needs to be done. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Kelsie. Oh, ladies who are watching this, I'm curious, can you see yourself in any or all of these women's stories? If you can you comment in and just share with us which story do you feel most directly related to? Because for those of you who are at the Empowered Woman Conference, you'll remember, it's incredible that when women come together, we can actually see ourselves in each other's stories. Even if the actual details are different, it's the energy and the emotion and the experience that we felt. That's what we relate to. So I'd love to see some of you commenting in, even if you're watching the replay, comment in and share with us which of the stories do you feel mostly connected to. Okay, ladies, I'd like to take a moment and just share, see if you can come back to when we were actually in the process of our partnership together, and share with us maybe just a couple things that you received from it, or a few aha moments that you had, or the things that you can remember now that were integral while we were working together. Is that pointed enough? Do you guys know what I'm asking? It sounds a little bit vague in my head, but I think you get it. And whoever feels ready, go ahead, unmute and just come on in.
I'll chime in. So I would say that that time that we spent together, again, it's like I didn't realize it necessarily at the time, but seeing you in action coaching me empowered me to own that coach in myself. And that's what I've spent the last couple of years doing, is emotional wellness coaching. So I saw you embody the ability to hold sacred space for me, and making peace with the fact that I could allow someone to hold me that way empowered me to be able to hold another that way as well. So that was huge for me. And also, I'll never forget the moment that I was so uncomfortable watching you take a deep breath and hold space for me, because I'd never really been okay with silence in a conversation. Like, I always felt like I needed to fill it. And it's like you gave me permission to breathe and not have the answer immediately, and to feel into that inner space of knowing that I've since made a beautiful friendship with, that inner knowing that I have, that we all have, that you helped me tap into probably most profoundly during the time that we spent together. And then that has just continued since. So.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Monika. I didn't even realize how good this would feel for me to be hearing this from you guys too. I really wanted this for everyone watching, but and that I always do remember that moment when you sent me that message. And I think we'd been in a workshop or something together, and it was just this, I didn't know what to say, and I was taking a deep breath to come into my own intuition, and from doing so, just allowing myself to hold that sacred space. And I remember your message of how uncomfortable that made you, and that's when I realized a bit of my own growth as a coach as well, and as a holder of space, in that I was completely comfortable with that. And how incredible it was for you to witness something that made you uncomfortable and lean in towards it, to realize like, ooh, I don't know if I like that, but it's something that I want more of. It's something that I know that that's an area that I can grow in. And I think that's a really powerful skill set that you have inside of yourself, to lean into it in that way. And also, what I loved about what you shared is just how, when we support ourselves or allow ourselves to be supported, we automatically in some way exchange that into supporting others. Whether or not you have your own business, whether or not you are a coach or a mentor or anything like that, you take everything that you receive and you in turn offer that to others in the way that feels true for you. Just as you were sharing, Monika, that you holding space for others. I think it's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Oh yeah, this feels good. Okay. Who else feels ready to share? Oh, but just before you do, Kelsie, Roberta says that she can really relate to your story, actually, Kelsie. So that's beautiful that you just unmuted yourself. So that idea of everything kind of being like perfect on paper, but that lack of embodiment within it. And Talisa, yes, I can relate to Kelsie's consume lots, read books, listen to podcasts, etc., but not embodying it. I think we all have that to a certain extent, especially in a time right now when there's so much content out there. There's so much occurring. You can go on YouTube and spend hours and hours. So it's really nice that we can at least relate to that together. Thanks for sharing, you guys. Okay, Kelsie, go ahead.
I'll share, but if you want.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, did you want us to keep sharing? Sorry.
Yeah, that's That's okay. Yeah, why don't you take a moment and share some of the ahas or takeaways that you remember of when we were actually in the Goddess Experience coaching partnership together?
Yeah, so the things that I probably still carry with me, which were the most aha moments, are probably the simplest things when I look back on them. The very first call we had, you asked me to be curious. And I am like so different than Monika. I'm like so much more masculine energy, and I'm like go 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 go. And I was like, "What do you mean be curious? What do you mean? I'm not going to be curious." Like, well, I want you to feel what you want for breakfast. I'm like, I don't want to think about what I want for breakfast. I'm just going to eat what I'm going to eat, and we're going to move on with the day. And so I started to be curious about these things and ask myself, what do you feel like having for breakfast? And I was like, I realized I did not ask myself these questions about anything. I just rolled along and did that. And so for me, still being curious and asking myself, how are you feeling today? What do you feel like doing? What does your body want to do? Is probably the biggest impact, and just something so simple that helps me stay grounded.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you, Kelsie. I think that's so beautiful. And the gift in that is that you're just deepening your connection with yourself. And when we actually stop to think about it, is there any other connection or relationship that matters more? Because as you guys have heard me say this before, but if I am the common denominator of every experience in my life, then I have to be the one that matters the most in some way or other. And as you ladies know, the more that we care about ourselves, the more we can care for others because we're feeling full. But Kelsie, I think that where you were at is super common for people to never have even asked themselves those questions, especially as moms, because there's no time, especially a mom and an entrepreneur. You're a wife, a mama, and a business owner, and you're just doing and getting things done and taking things off the list. And so I'm really glad that having that space to connect with you and even consider, what are my desires in terms of even food? What do I desire to consume for my body and my health? Create such a different dialogue internally. I'm glad that something from the very beginning still stands true for you today. Thank you for sharing that, Kelsie. How about for you, Laurel?
For me, I feel like I'm like kind of in the middle of Monika and Kelsie. Like, I like the idea of being like very open and like just like being in the moment and all those kinds of things. And I also like the idea of like being very structured and like having a list and getting things done. And for me, like that kind of is a problem because I don't get a lot done because I'm just like, what a like, you know. And I just wasn't like actually like connecting with myself, or like I was so in the middle. I wasn't choosing between the two. And it just kind of was like me, you know, and I did that for a year. Basically, it was just, so I think like I learned a lot, like just really to connect with myself and like make the decision of like how I wanted to deal with a situation, whether that be, do I really want to connect with it? I don't really use these words, but like really femininely or very masculinely, or like, but recognizing what situation I was in and kind of how I would best like to deal with it was really profound for me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'm hearing in that is really identifying that you have choice, but then allowing yourself to make the choice. And so, and that is what's really important about having a balance between the masculine and feminine, is you need the masculine, because without it you don't take action, and you're just over here like, life's so good all the time, which is nice, but you're not getting anything done. And when you're too strong in the masculine, there's no time for you to even enjoy your life. You're just constantly doing the things. And so it sounds like you were getting kind of stuck in between those two, knowing that you have choice but not allowing yourself to take it. And so that's beautiful that in that work it gave you that opportunity to identify, I am empowered because I do have choice, and B, I'm going to empower myself further and use that choice. I'm going to do something. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that too. Ooh. Okay, ladies, everybody who's watching, I want you to share again. Who do you feel that you can, which of those stories are you relating with the most, or what can you see yourself in? Because that's the point of this right now as well, is yes, I want you to see these beautiful women's faces. I want you to hear their voices and hear their stories, but I want you to see a part of yourself in them and see if you can identify the part of you that is ready to and wants to shift or to change or to grow. And when we see ourselves in other stories, it creates that vision of what's possible for us, and it allows us to step towards that, whether that be through joining me with coaching or a different realm going in a different area. You have to be able to have that vision of what you're moving towards to really allow yourself to step into it. So go ahead and share with us who you're feeling like, yeah, I feel like my life is really similar, going along the same lines as her story. Okay, Kelsie unfortunately is having some sort of technical difficulty again. Oh man. Let's all take a nice deep breath together. Everyone inhale. And as you exhale, shake your shoulders. Let's do it 2 more times. You guys watching as well. Inhale. Exhale. And last one. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. So ladies, I would love to hear from you. If you were to share with someone about the goddess experience or about coaching with me or about working in that version, so coach and mentor role, who do you think it's really for? Like, who do you think is really like that person that's on the verge of saying yes to it, and you know that they're going to receive so much from it? What might someone be feeling or thinking, or what experiences might they be having in life where you would say like, oh, you're ready to step into something like this? Take a moment and give that some thought. Then when you're ready to share, go ahead and unmute yourself. Who do you think this is really for? Who's ready for it?
I'll just speak for myself in the sense that it wasn't something I thought about for a long period of time. It was just, I was put in a situation, and I was lucky enough to have an experience with Deanna in the past, and I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't even remember your name.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I was just like racking my brain, and I was like, hey, and like your face, that experience just like came to me, and I was like, yeah, like obviously I thought about this for a reason, so I like found you, reached out, and it like everything just seemed like it would be a positive experience. I don't think anything negative could come from this, and I was just like, yeah, this is for me. So, and I think it honestly is for anybody. I think as adults, we don't really connect with ourselves in like any sort of way. I love having like deep conversations, and we like really don't do this often enough. And it's like, you kind of have to open that space for yourself, and like this is a really good opportunity to do that. So
yeah, I really love that, Laurel. One of the things that I was actually reflecting on recently, which is very similar to what you're saying there, is we often turn to our friends or our partners or our family members to support us, either when we're going through something or to celebrate with, which is wonderful and very essential to keep those relationships going. But would you say that it's different having a coach or a mentor in that role than it is turning to somebody that you have in your social circle of friends or family?
like 100%. I think when it's a family member or a friend, they like no matter, even if you try not to have your own opinion about something, it comes out, and less so when it's somebody that you're not personally connected with.
Yeah.
And so I found that really valuable to.
Yeah, and there's also, I've noticed this for myself, and I have a feeling you ladies would agree. There's this like level of security and safety, because one of the first things that I usually say if I'm connecting with someone for the first time is this space is confidential. And even if I've worked with a lot of people that live in 100 Mile House, which is a very small town for those of you who haven't been here, that everybody kind of knows each other's business. And I am very, very strict with myself about complete confidentiality, because it's really important that we feel safe. And while I'm not saying that family members or friends are going to go around blabbing everything everywhere else, but there's this level of security and almost the ability to surrender more and actually speak like the truth. Like even like we were talking about before, Laurel, with journaling. Sometimes we journal and they're like, oh, it was a good day, do. And but really what you want to say is like, what do I really want out of my life? Who am I? And
Mhm.
there's something about this coaching partnership that when you bring in that partnership and that mentor for you, you can get to that level really quickly. Right?
Mhm.
Would you guys agree with that? Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Mm. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Laurel. I love that. Mm. And Kelsie, I'm happy that you're back with us. Sorry that you're having tech difficulties. Oh, how annoying. But you're committed. You keep coming back. I'm proud of you. Okay. Um, what are we sharing? What are we talking about? Monica, do you remember?
I do.
Yay.
Who this is for.
Yes.
Um, I I feel like a lot of people, I feel like all three of us said something around the idea of like feeling stuck or like at a crossroads or something like that. So I've always feel like the the tipping point for a lot of people I've come to find out that is that like the pain of not having a coach outweighs the like investment
Yeah.
of doing something and taking that action. And I know myself well enough to know that making a financial investment is a sure bet that I will commit to something wholeheartedly. And so free programs can be great and YouTube videos are fine, but when I know I'm really ready to do the work, you can be sure that a financial investment will commit me like nothing else. So, and for me, it was also this point where I knew it was important to put myself first in a way that I knew there would be the benefit was going to far outweigh the cost. So um, I think that anyone who's kind of at that crossroads of like, I just wish I could talk these ideas through with someone, someone who is a neutral third party,
Mm-hmm.
that is really, really critical, in my opinion, that, like you said, family, friends are great, but like someone who can ask questions and actually sit and hold the space instead of chiming in with their opinion about all of that is really powerful because it then ultimately forces you to find the answers yourself. And
Yes.
I think we all know that, it's one thing to have someone give you advice and tell you what you should do. But when you are asked to look deep within and explore the answers that are really already inside you, then that information is gold. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what Deanna's so skilled at, is being able to ask really powerful questions that I found I didn't always have the direct answer to, but she was able, again, to hold the space and then also give me time to reflect on it and journal on it and arrive at the answer on my own.
Mm. Thank you, Monica. I love all of that you shared. And two things that really came forward for me that I want to bring some more attention to is one, when it comes to family members and like whether turning to a family member or turning to a coach, something that's really powerful that I have found over the years has really become present in coaching sessions is when you are with someone, a husband or a partner or even just a family member, and you're having some sort of struggle, when you're chatting with your coach or your mentor in a sacred space, you can talk about the situation without the fear that that person is now going to cast judgment on your partner or that family member or that friend. Whereas when you're speaking to someone where you know them in common, it can be a little scary to speak your truth about how you're actually feeling and get to the bottom of what you need to either apologize for or what you need to ask for support for because you're worried that it's going to taint somebody else's relationship. And a lot of this happens subconsciously. Don't even know what's going on, but I love when I'm working with someone and they have a partner and they're going through some sort of struggle. They come to me, we work through it for that individual, and then from there, it supports their relationship. That to me is incredible. The way that I think is I work primarily with women, but if I'm supporting all of the others, and most of my clients are with men, if I'm supporting the men through the women and the relationships are growing, Like this is a win-win-win. So yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to say that kind of ties into, I hired you to support me through making business decisions. However, I found that the most critical piece of what our time together influenced my relationship with my partner and how I was able to have really difficult conversations with him, that impacted the way I showed up for everyone in my life. So we had some unfinished, some unsettled, unfinished business, but I didn't feel honestly like courageous or confident enough to have those really hard conversations with him. So even though our work together was kind of focused in this one area of my life, I find that the area that it impacted the most is my most sacred relationship with my partner. So
Thank you for sharing that. And the more work that I do, the more studying into masculine and feminine energy, the more I understand that for, especially as women, when we usually have a higher level of feminine energy that's flowing through us, we're just not always embodied in it, but it's usually a slightly higher level. We need to feel deeply supported by our partners and by the masculine and whatever way that energy is showing up for us. So allowing you to feel confident in yourself to speak your truth and feel supported by your relationship allows you to springboard into success through your business, deeper connection with other relationships, feeling confident in your body and feeling able to speak your truth. So it's all beautifully connected. Yeah, thank you for
that
sharing
nails
that.
it. I mean, truly nails it.
Yeah.
What my experience was as well.
Yay. Thank you, Monica. And then the second thing that I want to take a moment just with each of you, and you're welcome to unmute or just give me a head nod or something. Did it feel comfortable to invest the amount of money that you did into this program?
For me, it totally did.
Cool.
Yeah, like once I had made the decision and kind of thought about it and really sunk deep into it and been like, why am I doing this? What do I hope to get out of this? And sat with it for a couple days and had kind of decided, yes, I'm going to take the time to invest in me because I don't do that enough. And as soon as I'd felt that, I didn't even care anymore. It was just like, okay, just send the money to Deanna. It doesn't matter.
Amazing. And that's powerful, Kelsie, because money is energy. And the more that we can get into that type of connection where it's not actually about the money, it's about, do I want my energy to be fully focused here? Do I want to share in this energy exchange in this area or in this area? Then it starts to soften what the actual money is and becomes more of that energetic exchange. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't actually know that. How about for you ladies? How did that financial investment feel?
Go ahead.
Okay. Again, like I felt like I was so new to this type of experience. I had no clue what the cost would be going in. Like even like reaching out to you, I had not a clue. But like it just was kind of like, I think that my whole situation was a no-brainer. I was like, yep, this is what I want to do. Okay, it's this amount of money. Sure, like if that's what it costs, like I feel like this is just what I need to be doing right now. And I had never really invested in myself in like any way before. I mean, yes, I went to university and like that was a lot of money invested in myself. And so I guess that is another way, but it just kind of, and like again, like now I feel like I would do it again. I think I would get more out of it a second time around, just because for me, I felt like I was like, and I still am like really growing through this, like investing in myself and like learning more about myself. Like it just wasn't something I considered before. And so I would invest again and for sure in the future. I think I'm still going over this like it was a year ago, basically almost today, like
Yeah,
this time that I
that's
had
right.
first
Yeah.
like started meeting with Deanna. And so I think I'm still kind of working over this mountain, but there's going to be another experience in my life, and I would definitely reach out again and do another goddess experience, I think.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Laurel. And I remember on our first call together, because just so you know, the prices that we're talking about are in the thousands here. And I remember you had said, well, to go do like a day with Tony Robbins is like 10 grand. So I feel like this is a pretty good deal. And I remember thinking, oh, you relate me to Tony Robbins. All right. Feeling pretty good about this. But it's true. It's what we get ourselves what we compare it to, what we're familiarizing ourselves with. And when we start surrounding ourselves with other women that are investing in themselves and are seeing the benefits of that and are knowing how that money can bring so much more back to you in the way of joy and happiness and connection and love and more money, if that is what you're working on, that's when we realize how much fun it can be to be investing in ourselves and how much more we can receive from it. Thanks for sharing that, Laurel. How about for you, Monika?
I would say it was one of those experiences where I was equal parts excited and terrified. So then I know it's a yes. Yeah, it's a big commitment financially. But after our first call, it was a no-brainer. Like I didn't even give it a second thought, honestly. So I think I even told you that you're like, no, really sit with it and decide. And I was like, okay, if you insist. But I knew that our time that we spent together was just even, when you know, and it clicked, and I didn't really have to give it much thought at all. But
yeah, thank you for sharing that, Monika. And what I'm hearing from each of you actually is that you followed your intuition. All of you did. You felt that gut feeling. You felt that sensation of like, and even Laurel, what you had shared of, I didn't really know why, but like you popped into my head and I had to follow through with that. All of that is your intuition guiding you. And when we do so, we end up receiving so much more in exchange, whether that's intuitively eating, whether that's intuitively investing, whether that's intuitively reading books, whatever it might be, that's where we receive back from. Thank you for sharing all that, ladies. I appreciate it. And Kelsie, before we're talking about who you believe something like the goddess experience is for, like where they might be in their life, what they might be thinking or needing. Do you want to take a moment and share who you think it's for?
Sure. Yeah. So I was thinking about Laurel and Monika's answers as well when I was listening to them, thinking, oh yeah, that's really right on, but it's different from my response. And so honestly, I would suggest it to any woman who's maybe been doing some personal development and not really necessarily searching for anything in particular, but not feeling that they're connected to maybe who they want to be in their core being and how they want to feel when they wake up each morning. And maybe they're moving along with life very well, but they're feeling not as enough joy or not a sense of knowing really who they are. And which applies to so many women, thankfully, Deanna. So, but I also think that I really wanted to comment on Monika's saying how she started for business, because when I reached out to you and it was a disaster, like I was crying when we talked and I was like, I don't know why I'm so unhappy. I've had this great year. And what am I supposed to do next? And I thought it would be all about business. I thought we'd focus on, how to align better that way. So more of me was showing up in my business, which we did. But I just learned so much about how to interact with my husband and how to interact with myself, and just to be comfortable in that and not question it as much anymore, or not have to align with that. So if you feel like you're struggling with how you're showing up daily and you're not really sure if that's how you want to show up daily, Deanna can dive deep with excellent questions and let you know right away if she can help you, or if she can see something where she can just tweak something, a very small thing, and make a huge difference. So.
Thank you for that, Kelsie. Yeah, and exactly going back to what you had said, I mean, from our first session together, when you shifted your perspective into curiosity and how much that has impacted you and continued to impact you later on throughout your life as well, it's sometimes those very subtle, simple shifts of perspective that change the way we live and change the way that we experience our life, which is ultimately all we have, is how we are experiencing our life. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's very much about just not even knowing if you're deeply connected to yourself. Chances are that means that you're not. And so there's space for you to grow within that. Oh, this feels so good. Okay, everyone, let's take another couple deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. Okay, ladies, we're going to start to bring it to a close, but I'd just love for each of you to think of something that you would like to share or say to yourself right before we began our program together. So to that woman, who you were, how you were showing up, how you were feeling, the thoughts you were having, if you could speak directly to her now from who you are now after having this commitment, having this support, what do you think you'd say to her?
For me, it's just like trust the process. I think like if you dig deep enough and like you know what's right, and you kind of just like know that what's happening is okay and what you're feeling is relevant, and sometimes like I know like or you want just guidance or reassurance from somebody else, and I think that that is like truly what I was looking for, but trust yourself. And it's okay to go out and ask for some help and find the help, but definitely just your gut feeling is usually pretty spot on.
Oh, that feels, I got goosebumps, Laurel. That feels really deeply from your heart. Thank you for sharing that. And it's true. Each of you here, each of you watching this video, myself included, we all have everything that we need to live a life full of joy and prosperity and fun and happiness and connection. It's just that we have so many different layers on top of that's where we get lost, and that's where calling in support for ourselves can be really beneficial. One of the things I learned at a younger age, when I was 19, my mom passed, as most of you know, and I went to see a counselor to help move me through that. And I remember thinking, I had this like stigma in my head that I shouldn't need to go to a counselor because I came from, like a good family. I had a happy life. I shouldn't have to have support in that way. I shouldn't have to go get therapy. And when I came out of my sessions, I realized, why isn't everybody doing this? Why are we all not bringing someone into our lives where we can literally talk about ourselves for an hour and gush about all the crap that's going on and talk about all of the emotions and the feelings and the fears and the worries and have someone just hold us in that? I think it's so beautiful. And I think it's one of the most empowering, impactful, confident boosting things we can do, because we get to let it all out instead of have it cycle in here. So yes, Laura, I love what you said. Trust yourself, trust that gut instinct, and trust that you have what you need inside, and still know that it's okay to call in support for yourself. Thank you for sharing.
Kelsie, you want to go? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Monika. You go.
Okay.
Everyone's just so kind here.
I know. Of course, you would attract the kindest. Okay, so my words of wisdom to myself would be to keep your mind wide open through the whole experience. I think I had a idea in my mind of what I thought I wanted out of life. And what I didn't even realize was that I already had it. I just was blind to the fact that it needed to look a certain way. I needed to, do certain things in order to feel worthy of what I had in my life already. So to like retract a little bit, like I've portrayed myself as having very feminine energy. That has not been the case in my life. The first 36 years of my life, I was hyper masculine energy. So by the time we met, I had already done about a year's worth of, really deep dive on myself. And so what I was missing, like I said, was like this idea that I had to like be doing something to earn my worth in the world. And what I realized by working with Deanna, and then, the time after that I've continued to spend diving into worthiness issues, is that I was worthy all along. I didn't need to do anything or prove anything to anyone, that like my worth is inherent by being a human. And it's really helped me find joy and peace in every aspect of my life, and be more present in every moment and find the joy. Because it was there all along. I just felt like it had to look a certain way, and that's so far from the truth. So.
Oh, Monika, it brings me to tears. The fact that any of us don't believe in ourselves hurts my heart. It's very, and in myself included, I have my doubts and I have my fears and I go through these things as well. I have my own coaches. But the fact that we don't see how magical and incredible and powerful and amazing we already are is just, it's just so sad at times for me. And what I heard from that is you really got to see yourself through the lens of love. You got to see the truth of you already had everything that you wanted. You just had to turn the light on to see it. You just had to allow yourself to actually see that for yourself, believe it, and then come into embodying it. And that is just such a gift. And a gift that will continue by sharing it with your children, by sharing it with the people that you come into contact in your life. That's the like energy that people feel when you know, when you're around someone and you don't know why, but you're so drawn to them and you want to spend more time and you think, wow, they seem so cool, or they're amazing, or I want to know them. It's that kind of energy that you now exude when you have that belief in yourself, that you can trust yourself, that you have everything that you need, and that you are worthy. And so I just want to take a moment to let all three of you know, and Kelsie will hear from you in a sec, but all three of you know that you are exuding that. And there are different levels and layers in which you can continue journeying to. But right now, all of you are exuding that. So remember that when people come across you, they get to experience that. They get to witness and experience you and your presence and your beautiful, loving energy. Whether or not you can feel it, whether or not you can see it, that's what you're exuding. And that's what's so special. That's what
And I was able
calls.
to see it because you held the mirror up for me to see it from you. So, I mean, that's truly how I feel.
Oh, that feels so good. Thank you for sharing that, Monika. Oh.
So, I don't know what I would say to myself, to be honest, Deanna. I don't know what I would say. I mean, how do you, how do you just tell yourself, okay, I know you should just do that? I would say, like Laurel, like just trust your gut. And if you're feeling this longing of connection to yourself and to maybe like a higher purpose, that it's time to just take this space for you, and that's okay. And I just know a lot of women, we do not take the time. And I just think that's what I've learned the most, is that, like, even hearing your story about the counselor, I've been to a counselor before, and I went through a divorce and I went to a traditional counselor and loved her. And she helped me through so many things. But when I worked with you, it was on this like very deep spiritual, connected to who I am at my core and what I want. And so to feel more connected to that and feel connected to the earth and to just spirit and vibration and just everything is just so magical every day that I just do it. That's what I would say to myself. Just trust your gut and do it, because your life and your experience of daily life will change for the better, and you will have this ripple effect that you will have no idea it's even possible.
Oh, that's so
So
good.
thank you, because yeah, like this whole conversation is bringing me back, and I'm like, oh well, I should just sign up again. Like,
I promise that's not my plan here.
no,
But I
I
mean,
know
you're
what
welcome
you're
to.
not. But like Laurel said, like I feel like I'm still climbing the mountain, and some days I get this stuff, and some days I'm like, oh Christ, it feels like I felt a year ago, and what am I supposed to do? And where, if so, but I'm like, oh well, Deanna could help me with that, but I know the tools. You just have to get in them, and then reinvest in yourself, and then come back to Deanna when you've hit that peak and you're stuck again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with investing in yourself, because and maybe I'll just take 1 second to share with you guys, over the past 6-ish years, I've invested nearly $100,000 into my own trainings and coaches and support and conferences and experiences and different things for me to build my toolkit to support myself and also to greater support each of my clients, because this is my life journey. This is my life's purpose. So I'm willing, basically all the things I receive, I'm like, great, just reinvest, reinvest, reinvest. And one of the things that I've learned from that is when you follow that intuition and when you follow that gut feeling, when your body feels like you're pulling towards it, like you want to say yes, but it's scary, but you can't say no. When you're in that state, it's time to do it. And you will never lose from investing in yourself. I have worked with some coaches before that I can see now maybe we're not the perfect fit or weren't really what I was looking for, but I still gained so much from that experience. It took me into a place in myself I hadn't been able to get to by myself. So I think that the journey of investing and reinvesting in ourselves is an ongoing experience. And the more that we can come back to that, money is energy. And if we're going to pour our energy into ourselves, that means that we are going to be so full that it's just overflowing. And that can also in turn into overflowing of money and abundance and freedom and space and time and joy and love and connection and all the things that we're craving for ourselves. But it starts with believing that we're worthy of even that first investment, even that first time of saying yes. Ladies, I have so much love for each of you. It is incredible to see your faces again. Kelsie, we've talked a little bit, but I haven't seen your face in a while. Laurel, Monika, we haven't talked in a while. So it's just so beautiful to be back in this energy together. And this feels really special to have all of us in this little rectangle together. And just to hear your stories and to hear your takeaways and hear what you've received from this experience. It's also really filled my heart and refueled, not that I need it, but refueled my love of the work that I do. I mean, it's so valuable to me and so valuable to my heart. So I really want to appreciate you and say thank you for sharing yourselves today. Thank you for donating this space and time in your days, which I know are busy, for you to be here and share your story with these ladies. And everybody who's watching, if you are feeling drawn at all to consider the Goddess Experience, to explore coaching with me, I highly recommend it. These ladies would recommend that you give it a try. Listen to your intuition, listen to your heart. Right now is the perfect opportunity because you're going to get a financial discount as well as added bonuses coming in. I really want to be here to be a pillar of strength for you so that while we're going through this pandemic, you keep having somewhere and someone to turn to. So that if things are challenging at home, if things are challenging at work, if you have no idea what's coming in the next few months for your life or your family, you at least have this one place that you can turn to where I will hold that energy for you, where I will hold you in the most sacred and loving energy, where you get to feel safe and protected and that you get to surrender. You don't have to carry the world on your shoulders, because at least in that one pocket of energy in your life, I'll hold that space for you. And that's one of my greatest gifts in life, is to be able to do that, and I take it very deeply into my heart, and I honor that sacred space that we can create together. So send me a message if you're curious about that. And ladies, oh yeah, let's do some loves. Let's oh, this is so cute. Why don't you all unmute yourselves and let's just share a few words of just what we're grateful for today. Let's just popcorn out, keep going. What are you grateful for? Dixie Green, my puppy dog.
The sunshine.
Oh yes, the sunshine.
The opportunity.
Me too. The sunshine really just started my day really nicely today.
We got no sun here, but
Oh.
I know, but we probably had more than you all have.
Yeah.
Lately. We've had almost summer already here, so I'm very grateful for that. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to connect with all of three of you today.
Yeah. I'm grateful for that too. And I'm grateful for technology. Even though it can be challenging at times, look at what we get to do on a Tuesday morning together. This is just what a privilege this is. What a beautiful opportunity. I'm grateful for that and this connection.
Yeah, thank you for bringing the three of us together, because I've seen myself in both Laurel and Monika, and I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. Like, let's chat with them a little bit more. So thank you.
Yay! Yes.
Agree.
Budding friendships, let it happen. I'm glad you said that. There's been a part of me that has thought, how can I bring all of my clients together to like just connect with each other? Because a lot of you have the same basis of foundation of tools and things. And so who knows, maybe there will be a retreat coming up in the new year when we have the opportunity to travel. Who knows, that we can all be together. I don't know. We'll find some opportunity. It'll come in at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're all grateful for you, Deanna.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Very
Aw,
much.
thank you for that, ladies. And that means a lot to me. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We're grateful that you were here to witness and observe all of this. And we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.